In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to set up an iOS DHCP server. And an iOS DHCP server is something that's configured on the router itself. So I'm going to configure it on router 1, and the purpose of it is to create some IP address pools to assign IP addressing to the hosts and the guest. Typically, you could have a DHCP server that's configured on a router or on another server, like just a separate DHCP server. And so in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two pools of addresses on router 1. And the first one is going to be assigned to VLAN 10, and the second pool will be assigned to VLAN 11. So I'm going to assign two different ones because they're each on different VLANs. And then I'm going to verify that the IP addresses are being assigned correctly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to host 1. I'm going to show you how things are set up. I've enabled DHCP on host 1. And if I go to desktop, command prompt, I go ipconfig /all. What happens is you see that there's address 169.254. That's an APA address. It's just an address that's assigned when the host is waiting for DHCP to assign an address, and it's just used for the local subnet. It's not something that really is usable past the local subnet. In host 2, it's the same thing. I can go here and show you here that DHCP is enabled, so it's waiting for a DHCP address. And if I go to ipconfig, you notice it's got the same 169, so there's no actual IP address configured yet. And the same thing with a guest. And guest is on a different subnet, but it's still got DHCP assigned is its method for IP address configuration. And there it is there, another 169 address. These were IPv6 addresses. You'd use IPv6 config instead of ipconfig. So the first thing I want to do is go to router 1, and I'll start configuring it. So I want to start with the address pools. So I'm going to start with the DHCP pool for the host in VLAN 10. So I'm going to configure a pool called VLAN 10. I'm going to assign the network address to it and the default router. So a default router would be the gateway, the IP gateway address, the DNet server address, and anything that's excluded is excluded, like 10.1 and 10.2 if they're assigned to network devices with gateways, just something that's just not available for host addressing. So what I'm going to do is I'll start with IP DHCP pool VLAN 10. Before I do that, I'll just enable DHCP services on the router. So I'll go over here and just do service DHCP. And that's a global command. And then IP DHCP pool, and then I'm just going to call it VLAN 10. You can't have any spaces there. It's just the name of it, just to identify it. And then the network is going to be 172.16.10.0. And that's the pool range. That's going to be assigned from 10.subnet. And then a default router is going to be the gateway address, 172.16.10.254. And then the next one is going to be just the DNS server, and that's actually another subnet. That's okay. DNS server 172.16.3.1. That's to resolve IP host names to IP addresses. So that's all the configuration. Then I've got some excluded addresses that I don't want assigned to host addresses. And as mentioned, typically you do that because they're going to be assigned to some device statically, so you don't want them in the dynamic pool. And the other one would be just to exclude the gateway address. So 254, I'll exclude that one too. So that's typically what you go through when you create an address pool. So I'll go over here, this example here, 04 is, this is all 172.16 addressing. So 04 is 172.16.11, and the default, and then 20 is 21. But this is a layer 3 switch, so the default gateway is going to be on this layer 3 switch. So it's going to be actually VLAN 10, 172.16.10.254. So I'm using SVIs on the layer 3 switch as a default gateway. This is not inter-VLAN routing. The default gateway would actually be on this layer 3 switch. So that's where I'm configuring those addresses from, or the default gateway specifically. So the next thing I want to do is go over and do the guest pool. That's going to be the 11. That's going to be 11 network that I'm going to assign from. So I can assign everything. When I exclude, it means I can assign anything from 1 to 255 unless it's excluded. So I'll go back up here, and I'll just go. Now the next pool is going to be called guests. Oh, guest. Did I choose guests? Okay. Then the network command is just going to be, this time I want to use the 11 subnet because guests are using 172.16.11.0. It's going to have a default gateway on that layer 3 switch of 11.254, or an SVI as it's called. And the DNS server will be the same DNS server. And then I need to exclude some addresses. So in this example, I'm just going to exclude 11.1 and 11.2, and also the default gateway. So I'll just paste this in here. So exclude 11.1 and 11.2. So it'll start 11.3 for addressing. And I also want to exclude 254. So that's excluded. So that's that. So the pool, so the guest pool is configured. So is VLAN 10. And the other thing I need to do is do something called DHCP relays. And that's here, and that's actually configured on the layer 3 switch. So I'm going to go to interface VLAN 10. That's the SVI, or the default gateway for VLAN 10. And I want to put a helper address on that called 12. I want to do the same on VLAN 10, VLAN 11. And the helper address, what it is, it tells the packets where to find the DHCP server, because it's not on the same subnet. This VLAN 10 and 11 is not on the same subnet as DHCP server. So the relay on the layer 3 switch forwards packets to find that DHCP server to forward requests. So I'm just going to go to CLI. And now I'm on the layer 3 switch. And so I want to do interface VLAN 10. This is the SVI. And IP helper address, and that would be 172.16. It's going to be actually the IP address of the router 1 interface. That would be the 20. So it's going to be 1.2. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing the inside interface on the router. I'm telling that's where it is. So it just says forward packets to that inside interface. That's a key part of DHCP. The relay is important. It says forward DHCP requests for an IP address to FA20, or the IP address of that, and because it's on a different subnet. I have to do the same thing for VLAN 11, because guests are on VLAN 11 and they need to know where the DHCP server is, because it's not on their subnet either. It's not on the subnet either. So it's the same same command for interface VLAN 11. And that concludes it. Now I just need to ping and do some testing. So I can ping the server and make sure the IP addressing is now being picked up by those hosts and the guest from the iOS DHCP server. So in this example here, what I do is I'm just gonna see there's 10.4, so it's already got it. So this is assigned 10.4. This is assigned 172.16.10.3. So it started 10.3 after that excluded addresses of 10.1 and 10.2. And the guest VLAN 11, it's still waiting for an IP address. I can just go to IP config. This is typically what you do, is just go here and I can verify already that it's assigned an address. The default gateway is correct. That's the SVI on the layer 3 switch. DNS server is correct. So that looks fine there. And host 2, the same thing. So there's 10.3. It's getting the first available IP address from that 10.subnet. Mask is correct, and default gateway is correct, and the DNS server of 3.1 is correct too. So that's all correct there. And there it is, 11.3. So this is 10.3, this is 10.4, and that is 11.3. So we finally got the IP address. And just to verify this, there it is. It's 11.3, it's in the correct subnet. It's got the right default gateway of 11.254 on the layer 3 switch. That's where IP packets are forwarded. And there's the DNS server of 3.1. And that's correct as well. So what I can do here is just ping, just send a ping here. Ping 172.16.3.1. So I'm just pinging the server 1. So I'm sending a ping from host 1 to the DNS server. I just want to make sure I'm testing end-to-end connectivity is what I'm doing. And it works okay. There's 3.1. So now I'm getting all 4 packets. In host 2 I can do the same thing. And command prompt. So all replies, because the ARP tables are updated now in router 1, so the pings happen a lot faster. So that's connected, and let's go to VLAN 11 and try a ping from that subnet. And all 4 replies from among guests, so that's the guest laptop, and that's connecting okay over to the DNS server as well. And that concludes iOS DHCP server.